Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It is Thursday. It's Dicky Bow Thursday. And it's St. Patrick's Day. So, some special birthdays too, related to the Arsenal. Here we go. Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad. Good evening, everyone. Look at that. Two legends of the Arsenal right there. One celebrating a birthday today, and I know how much he means to this young fella who's back on the show this evening. My podcast brother from another mother, Mr. Super Kevin Campbell.
Squaddies, good to see ya. Good to be back. Love ya. At ease. Let's do it.
Super Kev, I've been slammed this morning, but I'm changing our look right now because it is St. Paddy's Day. So we're going to go light or dark. You tell me which you prefer on the old confetti here.
Put the other one up. Let's have a look. That's the one, so.
All right.
That's the one.
All right. How you doing?
I'm good. I'm very good. Thank you. I am positive. A lot of positives came out of yesterday for me, and people are going to see it on the questions, obviously, in Kev Says.
Okay.
But,
so
yeah, I'm fine.
All right, wonderful. And we're going to get to all of that tomorrow with your questions, but I'm also going to get your reaction to the game last night. For those listening on replay, a lot of football going out, and trust me, we're going to have to get this man out early. He's got another show after this, but also your Everton's playing in a massive game, Kev. Massive game. This is a huge game.
Home game, obviously, and there's some corkers to come after this as well. So, form team, aren't they, Newcastle at the moment? They're a form team. But,
yeah.
Listen, who knows what Everton's going to turn up. We've said that for months, haven't we, with ourselves at times. Who knows what Everton's going to turn up, but they need to turn up tonight. That's for sure.
And it's a tough April for your squad. But listen, a couple of Gooners who are celebrating a birthday today. This is one of our favourite pictures of you with Pat Rice, where he lost the bet and he's looking at you as if to say, I can't believe I got a hand over this. Is that a tenner, Kev? Is that a tenner?
That's a tenner, yeah. That's
a tenner.
That's a tenner. He wouldn't bet 20 quid.
Magical Pat, of course, Arsenal legend, part of a glorious side. I love this picture of him with Pat Jennings. Celebrates his birthday today, and Kev, I know how much he means to you as well.
Oh, he's an absolute superstar. Obviously, know him from, being the captain and stuff like that, coming through the ranks, and then, I joined Arsenal, and then he's the one who's training me, Dave Villiers, all the guys. He's our coach of an evening. So he used to train. And this is the great thing. He used to train the youth team in the day, and then he used to train us in the evening. Him and Vic Akers. But do you know what that does, Sophie? That gets him into the idea of he knows the conveyor belt. He knows who he's got coming through the conveyor belt. He's already coached them. He knows our strengths. He knows our weaknesses, etc. And then he's just planning what to do as we move on. So, what a man. What a man.
Absolutely brilliant stuff. I'm going to bring in our special guest too this evening. Mr. Carl Newman back in the house. You guys know him. You love him. He's been on the show many times before. Welcome back, Carl.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. How are you all?
Of course. As you know, Carl's a filmmaker. I used the thumbnail of you and Sophie and Haley for today. I thought that would be fun. From if you haven't seen Kyle's epic movie Barely Lethal with Samuel Jackson, Jessica Alba, Haley Steinfeld, Sophie Turner. You should go check it out. He's also the author of a Dungeons and Dragons cookbook, New York Times best-selling author now, Super Kev. and a Star Wars connoisseur, an expert as well, and a new film coming up called One Up, which we'll discuss towards the end of the show. But Kev was just waxing. Look at this picture, Kyle. Kev and Pat Rice back in the day, where Pat Rice lost a bet against Super Kev. Love it. And it's his birthday today. And I know how much you love the nostalgia as well, Kyle.
I do.
Everything old school about the Arsenal.
I do. Fanatic about their history. Any book I can get, I read it. Any chance I get to go to England, that's all I want to do.
Yeah.
So, I love
Brilliant.
it.
Love that.
Brilliant stuff. And you know what? There's another Gooner who celebrates a birthday today. And I think
Sophie, hold on. Let me just say this. Pat Rice lost about 5 bets that season.
Wait, with who else?
No, it was me. All against me because he wants to win his money back, doesn't he? so it went on. After that, he bet me again. Took money off him. Bet me again. Took 5 times. He said he's not doing it anymore.
I love it. Absolutely brilliant. Hey, listen, you got to admire a man who wants to win his money back. Period.
And that one was probably the 4th.
But did he pay? March. Did he pay his bets? Unlike Viv Anderson, who never tipped when you cleaned his boots.
Always, Pat Rice paid up. Well, because obviously it became a thing for the newspapers. People were starting to say, what's going on? And it was like, Pat's got to pay me again, so that's why the picture came out of Pat paying the money, and he didn't want to take the picture. You could imagine, but eventually he had to take it in the end.
Absolutely love it. This is a classic picture of him with Arson. I feel like they're sitting on the Notting Hill bench, from the movie with Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts right there. And of course, we enjoyed a lot of successful years under them.
Lovely.
There is one more housekeeping birthday. This guy, Mr. Lee Dixon, who, if you missed the show with Rebecca Lowe earlier this week, guys, Kyle, he got a hole-in-one. He was playing golf with David Seaman, so he had to bring the drinks in. Yeah, big time. You've met Lee, right? Have you met Lee? Did you meet him on one of the tours here, or?
I did very briefly. The guys I was fortunate to, I met Charlie George. I did meet Lee briefly. I met Diaby right after we signed him briefly. But I mainly got to spend some good time with Freddie Ljungberg and got to meet Dennis in his booth, in his box with his kid. Yeah. Nice.
Very cool. All right. Well, look, let's get stuck. Happy birthday to Lee. I met Lee, Kev. I know you love Lee and Lee loves you. You have a lot of great Arsenal alumni memories together. I met him at the World Cup in Russia, and he was amazing. I bought drinks for him and Righty, and Clattenburg and Martin O'Neill were there and benefited from me buying drinks.
Of course.
Not sure I wanted to buy Clattenburg a drink, that's for sure.
Yeah, I get that. But
Roy Keane was there, and I bought him a non-alcoholic drink, of course. So it was all good. In fact, I ran into Roy in the lift the next morning. You guys, I was so hungover. It was a great night out, and I go, hello, Roy, and he goes, hello, and I said, I don't like you. I'm an Arsenal fan, and he started laughing, and he goes, I remember you from last night, whatever. And then he said, do you need a hangover tip? And I was like, wow, do I look that bad? He actually offered me the hangover tip before I even asked for it. So, yeah, no, but he's a good lad. He's a good lad. Right, let's
don't leave us hanging, Sophie. What was it?
Well, he's old school, a little bit like I worked with Sir Anthony
Hair of the dog,
Hopkins.
Was it?
Eggs and kippers. I just wanted to throw up right in the moment. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, he was winding you up, wasn't he?
Probably, yeah. Oh, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about last night's game, because we didn't have Super Kev on the show last night for the post game, and Kyle was watching the game as well. I said on last night's show, there's no shame in losing to one of the best teams in the world. I wasn't going to kill the team. Sure, there are things that we look at and we say, this is where we need upgrades, etc., etc. Super Kev, where's your heart lying on what happened last night?
Listen, obviously, I don't like to lose. That's for sure. I thought we would get something out of the game. And I think we played well during the game. I still think, even when we went a goal behind, 2 goals behind, we still stuck at it, Sophie. We've discussed this in the past about levels and all that kind of thing. But our level has gone up. Everyone could see that. Liverpool worried in the first half. Our only issue, Sophie, and we've said, will it come back to bite us, is the top end of that pitch. When the opportunities come, Soph, against the best teams, you got to take them. We go 1-0 up, then they have to change how they do things. But Liverpool are an assured side. They know what they're doing. And in the end, a couple of mistakes and we're done. But that is the level. That is the level. The best teams make the fewest mistakes, Soph. Or when they make a mistake, they quickly cover it up. And we're just not quite there yet. That's all. But I was infused. I thought Martinelli was absolutely frightening last night. He was frightening last night. And, one week, Saka plays well. The next week, Martinelli plays well. Our job is to try and get them playing well together on the same day. That's what we need. But it weren't to be last night. But you know what, Sophie? I am not down one bit. I saw more than enough for us there last night.
Yeah, I mean, and you know how critical I've been of Arteta and Kyle. I know that you've had issues with certain players as well. All of us, like with the Xhakas of the world, etc., etc. But looking from where you are at as well, first half I felt like we held our own. I spoke to a Liverpool mate of mine and he's like, "Oh, we just toyed with you," and I'm like, "No, you didn't," because Jurgen Klopp was going nuts on the sideline. You're just trying to say that, Carl. How did you see things? And I know that you want more as well. But the sky's not falling today, is it?
No, I was demoralized when I left the pub after watching it. I felt there was an opportunity for us to get something out of the game. We definitely had the momentum most of the first half. After the first 10 or 12 minutes, I felt we were organized, committed. It felt like a full team effort. It didn't feel like one aspect was really letting us down. Saka was a little off. I feel like Lacazette's always a half step off where he should be. I mean, he still contributes where he can. He's a leader, but yeah, that's where we need an upgrade. Martinelli was on fire. I thought our team's fortunes depend heavily on Xhaka and Partey. It's just whenever they're above average, we do well. Whenever one of them's out of sorts, the team is a mess. And thank God Partey's been playing great. I thought he contributed and his work ethic was solid, rallying people. Odegaard, fantastic. I mean, where the mistakes came from, it's not positions we would be upgrading. You're not going to update Ramsdale. You're not going to upgrade Odegaard. Cedric was a little out of position for that first one. I thought he should have been back. But overall, yeah, I'm not down today. I look at the table. I still feel it's positive. It's a little tighter. Spurs are getting their act more together. Thank God United are a shambles because we would be out of it already. I mean, honestly, I feel like fourth has become realistic. Third was actually something I could daydream about, and now I think we have to, consider the season a victory, even if we get fifth, and build. As long as we're going to, you were talking about betting and wanting to get your money back. Well, Stan better can up the bet and hope he gets his money back because he's on the cusp of something. And so many times over the past 10, 12 years, we've been on the cusp of something. And the team looks like it could go somewhere and we don't invest or we let some key player go. And it's not just under Arteta. I'm talking about, the same board. We miss opportunities in January when we're in the race. This is a summer where something has to happen and we have to pay above the price for players because we've been underpaying. And to get back to where you need to, you have to get in. You have to put more money on the table. You have to overpay. It's a sad state of affairs, but you have to say we're real. No more here's a Sizzler gift certificate and we'll give you Torreira, give us your best player. Like we have to overpay to show that this project is real, not just that, there's a philosophy. that we are financially committed to the project, which we aren't yet. I mean, all we did last year was catch up to the point where it was bare minimum. And you look at what Aubameyang's doing over at Barcelona. I know he has a lot of people that don't like him. A lot of people in my immediate circle that banter every day are like, good thing he's gone. Like, you know what? If he's managed properly, and Arteta's biggest criticism from me is his inability to man manage. I think he applies a filter to everyone, like it's Instagram. Like, I'm just going to give everyone this basic managerial treatment. And you look at it with Guendouzi and Ozil and Torreira and Willian and Luis, and some of these guys are problematic. But as a manager, as a director, what I do with actors is I manage the person. I look at them and say, what did they need to give me their best? You don't just go, this is a philosophy across the board. You can do that. But how could you have gotten more out of somebody like Pierre? How could you have gotten more out of somebody like Guendouzi, who was a real talent? So I think that's where he has to learn as a manager. And whether or not he adapts and excels and steps it up a level and says, I can do better man to man. That's what's going to determine our fate.
Kev, what do you think about what Carl's saying in the sense of, you've said the summer is, you've been saying the last 2 transfer windows are so fundamentally important. We lucked out with our last summer transfer window. The show's title tonight is How the Table is Unfolding. You and I have said it's not over yet. We've got some tough games coming up. Kyle talks a lot about, Arteta's man management. We've seen the good, and we've seen a novice trying to make, to figure out how to deal with problematic plays. What's your take on a few of Kyle's points there?
I think it's a lot different than Kyle managing actors, because the actors are only going to be there for the length of the film. The issue is when you've got a group for a certain amount of time, there's a hierarchy. I understand that. There's a hierarchy in that. But there has to be certain fundamentals that you put across the whole team. There are certain things that the group have to adhere to, as opposed to, look, Aubameyang sometimes turned up late. That's all right. They let him go. Yeah, that's all right. He's fine. But when there's protocols, especially with COVID, etc., when he doesn't turn up, that's terrible. So little things like that. Me personally, I just think Kyle's right when he says about there has to be that financial commitment now. We spent good money in last summer, September, and here we are, whether we make top 4 or we don't. What we're seeing is a team that's starting to do that. We could see, anyone watching the game yesterday, you could see where the holes are. We need a striker or 2 strikers like yesterday. We are desperate for strikers who can give Van Dijk and Matip and these guys, the City lot. If we have strikers like that, all of a sudden that game last night is different. Why? Because they know Lacazette can't run past them. So they could be as tight or as they could squeeze us up, and we have to then, Martinelli has to get it right, or Saka has to get it right, running off the wings. They'll take their chances of that, Kyle. They'll take chances of that. We need a number 9, a striker, they're going to have to go, we need to take a step back. Because once they take a step back, there is a lot more room for Martinelli, Ødegaard, Saka, and those guys to operate. And that just gives you that little bit more extra time, like the way they scored. Their goal was a little bit more extra time. They're making runs everywhere. You've got to respect their speed. And the ball gets played into Jota. And yeah, it's a mistake by Ramsdale. But do you know what? 9 times out of 10, he says that. Last night, it wasn't to be. But we have to learn. I think we said it the last time, against Liverpool. We have to learn fast. And I think we're learning fast. Against the big teams, you can't make mistakes. Or you got to minimize them as much as you can.
Yeah, and I think that was the difference, right? So the reason why I wasn't like the sky's falling kind of moment, Kevin, Kyle, is because you see they had another gear to go into. They had another level to go into. I think we gave our best in the first half, and if that Ødegaard chance goes in, it's 1-0. Is the game different, right, Kyle? But then you see, like, we know Cedric is doing a good job right now, but we know he's not the answer at right back. We also know that Xhaka isn't the long-term part for Thomas Partey. We know that we need the upgrades. So that's why, in my mind, I'm like, okay, fine. I expected a little bit more, maybe a draw or something, hoped for.
Yeah.
But this Liverpool team was 14 points behind Manchester City, mate. They have... This is insane. If they go on to win this title, I'm going to put my, come at me, everyone. It will probably be, for me, one of the greatest Premier League wins ever. Because Manchester City are lauded. De Bruyne, Foden, Sterling, Edison, all of these sexy players, Mahrez, Pep Guardiola, the Don who's been lauded. What they have done over the last couple months is amazing. And we are part of a group of teams that have succumbed to whatever it is Klopp is doing at Liverpool, Kyle.
I totally, it's impressive. I mean, he's gotten them from a disadvantaged position into some place very realistic. I mean, they're one point out. Right? Level on, are they one game behind or level?
They're
level games
1 point behind, yeah.
But City have to play Watford next, right? Or no, who's playing Watford next? One of them's playing Watford next. It's going to jump the other one before they play each other in 10 days. So it's very realistic they're going to do it. I think the thing they have is something similar to what we can have, which what we're doing is we do have a core group and they stick with the core group. City's rotation is going to be the death of them. I think in hindsight, they'll say, what was City's identity? What was their formation? I know it's interchangeable parts. And 1 week you've got Mahrez through the middle, and 1 week you've got somebody else. It's impressive the way they can rotate fluidly and stick to their system. But at the same time, I mean, I steer clear of them in fantasy. I don't want to put any of their players in my team. So But
also, he never made any subs the other night, guys. He never made any subs against Palace, where Palace were doing so well. And this is the arrogance of Pep.
Crazy.
Kev, semi-final of the Champions League, final of the Champions League. He is, geniuses are crazy and they do crazy things. That's crazy, no?
I would say so. So I would say it is crazy. Especially look at the squad they've got. I mean, Crystal Palace, it was crying out for fresh legs, wasn't it? It was crying out for fresh legs. In the Champions League final, Manchester City had such a great record with a holding midfielder, and he doesn't play one. I mean, as you say, geniuses sometimes overcomplicate it or overthink it. But, it is what it is. He's been so successful. Sometimes he might go to bed and wake up in the morning and think, right, that's what I'm going to do in these one game. So, most of the time it works for him.
Sophie, do you think this is better than their come behind than when someone put in the chat when we came from behind on United to put the title? Would you say that this Liverpool, if they pull it off, is that better than that?
I think so. I think because here's the problem, Kyle. Like, a lot of people call things way too early. And in sports, we've seen that, we saw the Newcastle-Liverpool debacle. And I wanted to ask you guys this, but I think it was dead. Everyone said it was dead and buried over because of the quality of Pep and his team. But if they go on to win this, and people are telling me to calm down in chat because I'm getting too excited. I'm not getting excited about Liverpool. I'm just saying it will be an incredible achievement. But the other thing too is I wanted to get back to you guys because the Newcastle-Liverpool thing comes into mind. The Arteta's press conference, Kyle and Kev, did you see it after the game? Did you see Arteta's press conference?
I didn't see it, but I read some of it.
Okay, so... Okay, I'm not talking about excitement, you guys, in terms of the greatest. I'm talking about comeback. And also, it may have been the greatest Premier League moment in the finish, but the greatest ever period is Anfield 89. Forget about
Absolutely.
it. You can beat QPR. To go to Liverpool, need to win by 2 goals. Okay, just stop. You know what I mean? Man
Well,
United
I
who
worked
won the
this into my
treble.
movie, Sophie. I worked this
What?
into my
Wait,
movie. I've got that.
What? Really?
Wait
I've
until
got,
the
I've
end.
got that.
The end.
Wait till the end. Okay, this is amazing. I love it. So, a few Arsenal fans think, and squaddies, correct me if I'm wrong, because a few of you have mentioned it in the chat, is they felt like Arteta had a bit of a Kevin Keegan, I would love it moment. And it might be the first time we've seen Arteta be uncool, Kyle, in the presser. So you read about it. What are your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I couldn't get the energy because I was reading a transcript, and obviously there was a lot of people's subjective opinions placed on it. His analysis, you're talking about the schedule and the unfairness. Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah.
I think he's passionate. It just shows he's passionate and he's believing in the team. I mean, my thing I always hold against Arteta is he went to City and he deleted every single picture and memory off his Instagram of Arsenal. He just erased them from his social media.
Wow, you've clocked that, haven't you? Wow.
I still hold that against him, but I'm glad to see he's like feeling like he's part of the team and not like he's visiting and not like he's Pep's understudy and he's going to go elsewhere. It feels like I want that passion from him. So even if he's wrong, I don't care. He's my manager, so let him complain. You know, I feel the refs and the system have been worthy of crying foul, so let him get passionate.
What do you think, Kev? He's always been such a cool customer. Rebecca Lowe, you were on the show the other day. She said, I'd love for him to maybe not try and be too much of a corporate guy and just lay it on the line like Tuchel and Klopp kind of do in their presses. What are your thoughts on that? Does it bother you? Do you think it's even relevant?
I want him to be him. I don't want him. Listen, the fact that we all know the media want a certain type of manager to be able to speak and do what they want. I want a manager who wants to win. That's what I want. I want a winner. And, you know, those managers have been able to incorporate both sides. So both of them articulate. They're good with the media. They're very good at getting their point across and explaining stuff. And they're great managers who win. Mikel Arteta, of course, is learning to be manager, but his personality is nowhere near like theirs. He's a certain way. And I like to see him complain. Complain. Say it. I love it. Honestly, I love it. Tell it like it is. Because you know what? So many times it's like, no, it's all right. We just get on with it. No, this has affected Arsenal more than anybody else. So say it. I've got no problem with it.
You know, I know that, Carl probably bounced out, but you know, Ferguson did it, but he did it after he'd won a lot. But you have to put pressure. You have to put pressure on the officials. You really do. You know, I just don't think you should sit in silence. And I think when you do, it puts the onus on the referees in the next games. You know, it's really funny. I was going through a lot of my old videos because I had to clear out some stuff, and I came across Manchester City's tour. Carl, you were there when City came, and I think Arsenal came the year after. And I have all these videos of City training and who's behind in everything, running everything. It's Mikel Arteta. And I was just sitting there today, Kevin, Carl, watching them intently thinking, oh, I forgot I had these, you know. And the way he's managing cool. Like De Bruyne, he's very hands-on, and Foden.
Isn't he? Yeah, he's very hands-on. Yeah, he's very hands-on.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so here's the scoop, guys. How the table is unfolding. It's tense. It's not over yet. We've got some major games coming up. Kev, I'm going to swing to you here because they've scheduled the Chelsea game. They've scheduled the United game. They're 3 days apart. And a lot of Arsenal fans are like, oh, here we go. So we had all these gaps in time, and now they're putting the squeeze on us. And of course, the North London derby is going to be the next one. So we've got a massive game against Aston Villa coming up. Then we've got Palace. Then we've got Brighton. Then we've got Southampton. And then we've got Chelsea on the 20th, Man United on the 23rd. But we've also got, so here's the schedule, guys. We go 9th, Brighton, 16th, Southampton, 20th, Chelsea, 23rd, Man United. Kev, It was going to be hard enough as it is. We haven't had the European football. We've been out of the cups. But what do you think about what's happened here on the scheduling side?
Sophie, we've had weeks where we played one game, then we had 9 days, 10 days off. Then we played another game, we had 9 days off again. Then we played again, then we had a week. This is how it works out. So this is just the way it's broken down. Obviously, if a team goes through in the cup, then you can't play them on the weekend that they're playing. So that has to come up. Chelsea was Carabao Cup final. Sophie, this is what we have to do. This is what we have to do. And we always said, will it actually come back to bite us? Not invested in January? I don't know whether it will or not, Sophie. We've had the opportunity to keep our players fit, keep them going. But that will test any of the big sides.
Yeah.
We're a big club, but we're not a big squad. So that's really going to test us. And those times are going to see if we're going to be really challenging. Because I'm sure the Spurs game is going to be...
That's going to be the one at the end of the season. It's going to come after the Everton game, isn't it, Kev? Do you think it'll come after?
I think it'll be before then. No, I think it'll be before then. But it will be scheduled maybe a midweek.
Between May 7th and 15th, probably.
Between the Leeds and
Newcastle game.
It'll be a midweek game,
yeah. Kyle, what's your take on that? And also, the narrative has already kicked in. Is it going to be a disappointment if the Arsenal don't finish in the top four now, when we had no business being here in the first place? I never had us here. Many of our fans didn't have us here. A lot of the media didn't have us here. But I can feel like it's the stick they're going to want to beat us with. As critical as I've been of Arteta, you said fifth would still be great. Hey, look, getting back into Europe any way, shape or form, as long as it's not the Europa Conference, is key for us. We signed Aubameyang, Lacazette, Thomas Partey, Kieran Tierney with Europa League football. What's your take on what Kev said? Schedule. We got to play, and how do you feel about where we end up, and how that will be perceived at the end of the season?
The schedule, we should use it as an opportunity to prove ourselves. I mean, you can go win one of those games against a big team, and then you've got the next game 3 days later. That should hopefully embolden you to go and capitalize. The week between games, maybe it lets the energy die. So if we get on a run, it's good. If we lose one of those games and you're facing United the next week, it's tough. But again, we've had so much time. We do have a smaller squad. I think it's absolutely doable. I'm anticipating, dropping some points in that window. It's games like, Aston Villa away this weekend. Let's see how we respond after Liverpool. That'll give us a really good indication of how we're going to handle the Titan schedule and how fast our players can resiliently turn it around. I think, though, we're going to respond well. I think he has to rely on players like Pepe. I don't know where his confidence level is, but he's going to have to do some rotation with some of these players that are, running their ass off, and bring him in a little earlier.
Are you worried about Villa? Because there's a few people in chat here that are. I'm surprised. Like, they're worried about the Villa game. Are you worried?
I'm not worried. I mean, obviously, I'd be shocked if we lose. But there's always the chance to drop points, and there's always the chance for a player like Coutinho, who we were after and interested in, or at least the media said, to come and do something magical, and we pay the price. I feel like that's our narrative. So he wants to prove a point in England, and Gerrard's project is uneven, but I think it can go somewhere. So maybe we're just gonna have to be as good as we can be. We can't have done an amazing performance against Liverpool and then take the foot off the gas a little bit because we're tired and we don't have like some backup players to rotate in of the caliber. I mean, I miss a guy like Tomiyasu. I don't know if he's going to be ready in time by.
No, he's not.
So I don't know.
It's not going to happen. Kev, are
he
you
doesn't
worried
seem to
about
have a lot of faith in Makongo either. So
No, I mean it's Xhaka, Partey, Lokonga will come in
Yeah.
if someone's injured and stuff. But Kev, are you worried about Villa?
No, I'm not worried at all. No, I think that what's really important for us, Soph, is the fact that we can. I know we lost the game, but the way we performed against a Liverpool should give us confidence. Really should give us confidence going into these games, because you know what? If this team is going to grow until between now and the end of the season, we got to beat Villa.
Mm-hmm.
To make top four, this team has to have that growth spurt to a point where, we're a Champions League team now, Sophie.
Mm-hmm.
From 8th to Champions League. That's a growth spurt. We need that growth spurt. If we don't make that, then we make Europa. But we want Champions League spot, so we have to have that growth spurt. We've got to have it. So, again, am I worried? No, I'm not worried. Is it a tough game? You're right, it's a tough game. So, of course it's a tough game. Aston Villa away to, big club. They've got themselves going at times. Again, what Villa's going to turn up? But you know what? Villa ain't Liverpool. Villa ain't City. That's for sure. So I fancy us. We play the way we are. I fancy us.
Okay, so let me ask you guys this. Kyle, I'll start with you. Would you start Emil Smith-Rowe somehow in this game? Would you rest Saka? Martinelli, you cannot bench after the performance he had against Liverpool, in my humble opinion. What are your thoughts on going into this Villa game, especially regarding Saka? A lot of Arsenal fans and a lot of folks in our chat box think that he needs to sit for this one and maybe come on as a sub with 20, 25 minutes to go.
I've thought about that. I think he's just going to come down to, I wouldn't do it for any reason, psychological reason. I would do it only if he seems like he's really fatigued for or he needs that breather. I wouldn't do it to say, you didn't have a good game, we're going to swap you out. So if he's fit and ready to go, I think it's better for his growth to just keep playing him. I love Smith-Rowe. I would love to see him feature. It might not be a bad switch just to mix things up. Just get a different type of possession. It really comes down to what he's got to look that player in the eye and see how he's feeling. It always comes down to that rather than any type of what's tactically better. It's how is that person doing? Do they need it or not? And to answer your other question about like top six or not, like I think will the narrative change about us? Of course. I mean, we were 3 games into the season and there were articles about, are we going to get relegated? So there's that rhetoric. You're always going to be dealing with that. And of course, people are going to talk about how it's a massive capitulation if we don't secure that top 4. But, I think, I hate to say it, but 5th is a solid amount of growth where you're right on the cusp. It will still feel like a collapse, in my opinion. It'll feel like we didn't do something right, either behind the scenes or on the pitch. So I hope we don't end up there, because it'll mean there's going to be some bad results coming. But 4th would be the narrative we need. And you're talking about the mentality of Champions League.
Exactly.
We have to walk like it now, act like it now. They have to play like that spot is theirs for the next 11 games. It is their spot, and they have to act like that. And if we start to be meek and second guess ourselves and make a lot of mistakes, then it's going to show. That the youth is going to show.
Kev, would you start Saka? I think Carl brings up a really good point. Yeah.
I'd go with the same team. Definitely. I would. Look, we've seen we've seen players have good games. We've seen them have bad games, and we've seen Martinelli not play like that he did last night before. But the manager kept faith with him because he knows what he brings to the team. So he's got that goal threat. He's got that pace. He's got that ability. But we've said many a time, why do we keep taking these guys and putting them on the bench? No, he's getting a run now. You keep him there, and he performed last night. Saka wasn't his same self, but he's up against arguably one of the best left backs in the world, one of the best defenses in the world, etc. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult. For me, Saka plays, Smith Rowe still stays on the bench.
Yeah, he's never had a really good game. He's never really had a good game against Robertson, to be fair. Whereas Martinelli's kind of owned Trent Alexander-Arnold. I don't know what it is about him, the way he plays Liverpool, but I would.
And you know something, Soph? Sometimes this is just the way it works. Sometimes Saka won't be having a good game, so you've got to rely on Martinelli getting down one side. And whereas another game, it wasn't Martinelli, it was Saka getting down the other side. This is a game of football. Very, very crazy that both your wingers are just getting the run of the pitch. Very rare.
Okay. Did you guys see Laka do this in the game yesterday, where he was almost asking to be subbed and he looked knackered? Would you rest Laka against Aston Villa? Would you try the Martinelli down the middle? Play ESR on that one side, play Saka on the other side. Then you can switch it up, bring Laka on maybe after Kyle. Would you entertain that? Or you and Kev, to me it sounds like stick to the starting 11, let's roll, and we'll make changes as the game goes. For me personally, I would try and surprise Villa a little bit and do something a little bit different than what we've been doing, considering we have 12 cup finals left. Because Laka looks knackered. The Saka argument, no. But Laka looked exhausted last night. And I think that Tyrone Mings, and I say this with respect, he's imposing and he's tall and he's a big guy, but he's got clumsy feet. He's not that great of a defender. And I think someone like Martinelli could actually really embarrass him. I'm not sure. Go on. Okay.
I only say, I've said Martinelli's better starting from the left. Kyle, you tell me what you think about this. As a number 9, there's a lot more traffic inside, so if you're not 1v1. You got 2 centre halves and you got midfielders in there. There's a lot more traffic. So when you are receiving the ball, most of the time you are surrounded. It's a totally different game with your back to goal. That's the only reason I want to try and protect Martinelli as much as I can at this present moment. Fair enough, Soph. If the game's going and then we have to change it and then you put him in there, I get that because the game's already going. But to start him in there, I think he's so much more effective coming from the left because he's a winger.
Yeah, he's going to get bounced around a lot. I feel like Lacazette almost likes getting bounced around between center defenders. He just kind of bounces off people. He gets in the mix. He is good at the hold up. He does look tired. He does have an international break soon, so he's going to get a break. I think it'd be hard to shift the lineup to do that. I'd almost want to, like you said, have it happen in stride. 60th minute, Laka looks tired. Move Martinelli into the middle. Bring in Smith Rowe. I think it's better to maybe not start the game that way and let the game evolve that way. Because I think Martinelli for the first 45 minutes will pretty much get neutralized unless they're playing like a really high line. I mean, I love his energy and I think he probably would thrive there, but it's hard to jump him right into that. I think we just got to stick with it and be open to subbing earlier.
Yeah. I buy into that. I think Pepe should have come on a bit earlier yesterday. Yeah, I think maybe he would have had a bit of a go. And I would like to see that, with 2-0 down with Liverpool, you're already there, just go for it. Who cares in that game? It's more than likely.
More damage limitation, so you don't want to go for it because you want your goal difference. You don't want to all of a sudden say, yeah, go for it. Why don't we go for it? You get done 4 and then you miss out by 2 or 1 goal. No. Just get players on. If they get hot, fair enough. If they don't get hot, we lick our wounds and we move on. Because you know what? The Villa game now is such a massive game. Again, biggest game of the season. We got them back to back now. So we've just got to be a bit careful when we say just go for it when it can actually hurt us.
Yeah. I mean, Gerrard is smart. He's got a good midfield now. He's got some quality up front. Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins can do some damage. Callum Chambers might come back to haunt us. Who knows? We got Emi Martinez, a couple of ex-Arsenal players there. Okay, before we move on to a couple of closing comments here, Kev? Are you going to give your prediction today or on tomorrow's show? Because I'm going to get Carl's right now.
Tomorrow.
Okay, so
I'm gonna give mine
Carl,
tomorrow.
what's your prediction on the Villa game?
Well, I can give it if you want.
Make them wait.
Do it. Oh, make them wait.
Let them wait. Let them wait.
Look. I think we're gonna win. I don't think I don't think we're gonna brush them aside very easily. It's probably gonna be second half. We get something. I would love the Arsenal of old to get an early lead and control games, but I feel like we're gonna probably struggle to get that first goal, and then we're gonna get it, and we'll probably give up a goal. Probably gonna win 2-1.
All right, I like that. And of course, we have Kyle here, and he is a Gooner through and through. I worked with him on a fantastic film a few years ago called I don't know. Has it been 5 years? Maybe it's been 5 years. It's been
came out in 2015.
Holy
2015
cow! So it's
824. Yeah.
So we're in our 7th year, right?
7th
So
year.
Kev, the best thing ever. So we're on set in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And
Nice.
you've got Samuel Jackson, you've got Sophie Turner, you've got Haley Steinfeld, you've got Jessica Alba and stuff like that. And there's a lunch break, and there's an Arsenal game on. And I'd met Kyle and we said hello and stuff, and all of a sudden he's like, "Where's the TV? Where's the?" And he's wearing an Arsenal shirt. I'm like, "Get out of here!" He's directing the film with Samuel Jackson, and he's wearing his Arsenal shirt. I mean, kudos. I mean, that was amazing.
It don't get much better than that. I salute you for that, Kyle.
So iconic to me. I'll never forget it. And then literally, he doesn't care about lunch or the cast breaking or what's coming next. He's like, "Where's the game? Who's got the TV? Why isn't the game on the TV yet?"
Love it.
Just brilliant stuff. He's done a lot of stuff in the Star Wars universe. You guys know last time he was here, his Dungeons and Dragons book was kicking ass as well. Now your next film, One Up, Kyle. You said that you squeezed a little Arsenal into that. Tell us a little bit about it. What's the scoop on that front?
It's a sports movie. It's a comedy, kind of like Pitch Perfect, a little bit of League of Their Own. It's about female gamers in the world of esports taking on a very patriarchal gaming society. And kids are going to college now with esports scholarships for gaming. And it's about a team of girls make it to the national tournament. And in one of the matches in the tournament, in the third act, the midfield opens up, the mid lane, and the commentator has got our girl charging through the midfield, and it's up for grabs. And
yes,
it's this epic moment. He's like, "It's up for grabs now," and then she takes out the thing, and they win it. And so Arsenal fans will pick up on it. Liverpool fans can hate it, as they should. And you're right. That is the greatest. I saw a lot of banter in the chat about Aguero and BS like that. No,
I like it.
It's not even
like
close. It's like, come on, just get out of here. So yeah, it's that moment. I mean, that's one of the greatest moments in sports, period. So
I love that you've paid homage to it.
And commentary, at least, into a esports gaming movie, to remind people, because you're making a comedy, but it's still a sports movie. It's a challenge, and no one knows the language of esports. It's not like we watch soccer, football, or we watch American football garbage. Everyone knows the rules, though. You know what I mean? People there's a vernacular, so to have it so people that don't game understand it. A lot of it's driven by the commentary and the emotion on people's faces, and because you're just not everyone knows as an expert of these games, and they're all different. So I wanted to put iconic commentary at a key moment in the movie.
I love it. Who's your cast in this one?
So Ruby Rose is the
nice
coach of all the girls, and I've got a younger cast: Paris Burrells, this guy Taylor Zakar Perez from the Kissing Booth movies, a lot of fresh new faces. Seth Green's in it. A lot of cameos.
Love Seth.
It's great. This movie's awesome.
Awesome. When's it coming out, and where is it streaming? Is it going straight to theaters? What's the scoop?
It's Lionsgate's distributing, and it's coming out at the end of June. and there's some bigger news coming, which I can't say yet, but you'll be able to see it everywhere. And it's cool. I just can't say any more than that, but it's really good distributor. I did it in conjunction with BuzzFeed Studios, and they have a new film thing now. So
that's excellent.
It's great. I mean, it's a lot of fun, especially if you like gaming at all, and like back to Super Mario, Zelda, anything. I put references all throughout.
Well, you're such a Gen X junkie. I love your retro, your nostalgia, your homage to stuff like that. So yeah, I'm gonna love it. So Universal Greek was ingrained in music. He worked with some of the greatest artists of all time, and he wants to know. There's a picture. Yeah.
Oh, so that is my fiance, Cyn. She is signed to Katy Perry's label. She's got an album coming out later this year.
Nice.
That's awesome. So that's one of her records.
Okay, cool. So maybe next time you're on, we could get a little flavor and bring the fiance on and get a little bit of a taste.
Every morning in my house, like it's a weekend, kids get up. No one touches the TV, no animated shows. You're gonna watch the Arsenal. That's what it is. Everybody's in.
Love it. And how's everything going on the Dungeons and Dragons front? You guys have been in Variety and Hollywood Reporter. You've got dolls now. Thanks to Mr. Manganello.
Yeah, the cookbook was a tremendous success. I mean, we're gonna probably have 250,000 copies out there. People love it, and it's still like amazing. Amazon bestseller. And we're doing some more in that space. And I have a sequel to the first book coming out later this year. The first book was a history of Dungeons and Dragons, like a big coffee table tome, and we're doing something as a follow-up to that that's out in October with the same Penguin Random House and D&D. Yeah.
Now, did you get your own doll too? Because I saw the post. I mean, this kind of group of you that are playing this game has taken on a whole new.
Our group, yeah, it's Joe Manganiello is the Dungeon Master. The Big Show is a big professional wrestler. The Game of Thrones guys, Dave Benioff and D.B. Weiss play. Vince Vaughn, Tom Morello from Rage Against the Machine. So we have a big group, and then we turned all of our characters into minis. And WizKids, who has the license for Dungeons & Dragons, is putting out the line of the characters in 2 box sets. It's awesome. We had our group became Chuck D was on an airplane with Tom Morello, and Chuck painted our group. Like he did his interpretation of our D&D. I was like, Chuck D, so it's and he thinks it's cool. So it's really crazy how D&D's out there now, and it's one of those things I love. So if I get a chance to write about it or make a movie about it, I jump at the chance. I would love to do something with Arsenal.
Oh my God, we should make that happen. We want in though. It has to be in conjunction with the Highbury Squad. Is that a deal?
Course.
Okay.
Of course.
All right, cool. And also, I'm starting a petition for you to direct the next, if there is one, the next Star Wars movie. This has to happen. You're like the guru of all gurus. Have you been doing any stuff with the Star Wars guys lately?
I would love to. No, and that's a dream. I honestly think there's one thing I was put on Earth to do, is to make Star Wars content, and I have to do it. I've been fortunate to do a little bit, but I really need to. That's all I want to do. So that's the next goal in life, Sophie. Somehow, just keep making movies.
Maybe we'll just set up another arc and then make it happen. Like.
And then what Arsenal fans should look back. There's an old movie called the Arsenal Stadium Mystery Tour. I think it was late 30s. And it's a mystery set at Highbury. Mm-hmm. It's cool. It's an old film. So that's worth checking out if you want to look at what it used to look like.
Very cool. Let everyone know where they can find you, Mr. Newman.
I am on Twitter and Instagram at Kyle_Newman. And Facebook, I have a fan page, Kyle Newman. I'm always down to chat Arsenal. It's very divisive online when you go on Twitter and you put stuff out there.
It is.
But I live, sleep, dream Arsenal. So
Carl, I don't know what order he has it, but I think when Carl wakes up, it's like there's one area. It's like you got the kids, and the missus, but then you've got Arsenal, Star Wars, Dungeons and Dragons, and his project. Like, I don't know what order they come in, but that's pretty much it. I'm pretty sure.
I go through them all every day. I mean, I'm in the mix on all of them every day.
Well, brilliant stuff. Thanks so much for joining us again, Kyle. You're awesome, epic Gooner. You know your football, you know your stuff. And come back at the end of the season, and then we can wax lyrical and have more chats for sure.
It's always an honor to chat with you both, Kev the legend, and you, Sophie. You guys are
Kyle,
awesome.
fantastic. Thanks for joining us today and giving us your opinions, Kyle. Really means a lot. Thank you, mate.
The squaddies love you.
Well.
Take care, mate. Okay.
Cheers.
See you soon. That is Kyle Newman. I love Kyle. I've known him for a while now.
He's a cool guy, isn't he?
Yeah,
really
he's a very cool guy.
Cool guy.
Yeah, very cool. Knows his football, you know?
Yeah, he does. No, he does. He does know his football.
Well, yeah, he is. He's very cool. He's a top man. Thanks, squaddies. Actually, in Universal Greek, you'll love to know, he directed Taylor Swift's video. I can't remember which one. I'll have to remember. You've got that. Anyway, he directed one of Taylor Swift's videos as well. He does a lot of really top shelf stuff. Right, Kev, that is all we have time for. You have an epic. I watched the videos today. If you think my green ticker tape here is...
Don't say nothing.
Okay.
Just chill, please.
That's it. I'm done.
Don't give the game away. Don't give it away.
Take us out, Kev.
Right, yeah, just button it, zip it. Squaddies, listen, you're in for a treat tomorrow. That's all I'm going to say. Super Kev says tomorrow with a twist, all right? Listen, again, Sophie, I love the Idaho hat, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
Very nice, very nice. Hostess with the mostest, Sophie, as you know, Squaddies. Another fantastic guest, gets another fantastic guest on, Kyle, yet again, who's got great opinions. Thank you for joining us, everyone. Listen, we look forward and we stay positive, don't we? Big game coming up, and we're going to really talk about things on Kev Says Tomorrow. So, Squaddies, love you lots. If you want to see more, I'm going to be on Lee Judge's TV at 9:15, so we can chop it up a little bit over there. But in meantime, Squaddies, we love you. And I will salute you. So at ease, Squaddies, have a good evening, good night, or good morning, wherever you are. Take good care. Lots of love. At ease!
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.